G.I. Joe.
Greetings, I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe Gamer, and welcome to Joe Takes 28. Tonight, we're Roadblock from the Hildt. This has been a long time coming. I've been really wanting to take a look at this figure. He is not just in my top 10, but he's in my top 5. He is my 4th favorite Joe. Only the ones I like better than him are Snake Eyes, Airtight, and Beachhead. And Airtight's my favorite, but I switch back and forth on Beachhead and Snake Eyes sometimes. But Roadblock's a really cool dude, and I've been wanting to talk about him for a bit. And of course, we had to do that. Anyway, we'll start by looking at the figure, the original vintage figure. Now, I used to have all of them, all the vintage figures, the Tiger Force and the 1986 Roadblock, but I used the 1986 Roadblock to fix my Alpine. Just what we did back then was we took parts from other Joes to fix other ones because I had my Tiger Force Roadblock, so I wasn't really fond of the original 1986 Roadblock. For whatever reason at the time, I like the aesthetic now. I didn't then really compared to the original. After a while, I acquired the original, and I actually have 2. I guess he's with my doubles, but I do have a second one. But my nicest one is here, and we'll take a look at that. And then there was a 1993 Roadblock, and I do have that one to look at. So as to what happened to my Tiger Force Roadblock, I'm not really sure. Probably ended up being parts for other Joes. But here's my 1984 Roadblock, the original. Now, I did have his accessory. Well, I had accessories for him from an accessory pack. So I did have a Browning 50 caliber for him with the backpack and all the accessories. My accessory pack version of that, however, the backpack, the peg broke off, and I really don't know what happened to the actual gun, but it wasn't really the original Deuce, as they call it. So I didn't bother going to look for it because it wasn't the one that is for this particular figure. Now, most people display Roadblock without the helmet, and I generally do too. But he did come with a green helmet, and I like that look for him as well. I mean, Roadblock is generally, without a helmet, but that's okay. Anyway, he's got the knife on the right hand side, and a pistol, a sidearm, and a pistol in the holster on the left. So that insinuated that Roadblock was left-handed, even though they showed him in art wielding the Deuce with his right hand. Now, the one that came out in '86 came with a really big gun. I still have that gun, but it doesn't really fit with the original. And the 1993 Roadblock was pretty cool. And then they had another version of this painted, I think, that they brought out in '94. This actually might be the second version of it. I'm not really sure. It wasn't that big a deal to me. I like this one better, so that's why I chose this one over the other one. I just like the colors of this one better. The accessories tree he came with a shockwave pistol and a hit and run machine gun. In black though for the pistol, I like that, but it doesn't really fit Roadblock. And they did have him come with a big rifle, but it's a sniper rifle, and it's like, why do they have Roadblock come with a sniper rifle? It's kind of weird, but I have no doubts that Roadblock could wield a sniper rifle and operate, successfully and actually use it to snipe, but it's just not Roadblock's thing. He's a heavy machine gunner. Now, I actually do have some carded figures to look at this week. Now, as a stand-in for the 1986 figure. I do have the modern version of Roadblock, the 25th anniversary. Well, in that outfit and in that art style. Yeah, like I said, it came with this big old gun, and they updated it really nicely for the 25th anniversary. So it's really cool. And then, of course, we got the file card, and let me get a better look at that. Now, for some reason, when they did the 25th anniversary, they went back to the original ranks, and he was still an E4 with that outfit. I don't know why. They always portrayed Roadblock as being a higher ranking sergeant, except when he was first in the Joes. But in the comic books, he was always portrayed as a higher ranking sergeant. I also have the Walmart exclusive retro line Roadblock, which turned out to be really good. Now, a lot of people don't like this green flak jacket. I do have one out of the package as well. But you can take that flak jacket off, that web gear, and he looks a lot like the original Roadblock underneath. And so it does match with the artwork that they gave him. Now, he did come with a Bradley 50 caliber, but it comes apart and you have to assemble it. For whatever reason, mine never stayed together very well. I don't know about the one in the package, but the one I have out of the package. And so I just put it in a bag and left it there because it never really would display it very well. And then, of course, they have the crappy retro file card with all the multiple languages on it. That's just how it is. Now, in the retro line, they did that's what they did for that. But in the classified line, they came out with a really good Roadblock to start. He was #1 in the series. Now, of course, this was after they had the special edition Snake Eyes, the 00 figure, which I don't have, unfortunately. But the box art for him was pretty cool. I know a lot of people were looking for the original, but I do like this box art. For some reason, they put him in shades, but they didn't have sunglasses for him. It was really weird. And I don't know what I got going on here. Maybe a spider. It's a spider. My friend Paul is 619. He got a package where there was a spider in it on live TV. It was on live YouTube, so and now it's happened to me. So Paul, don't feel so bad. It happens to all of us sometimes, I guess. Anyway, he was #1, and this is pretty cool box art. At the end of the episode, I'll have a video that has the artwork a bit more clearly. They put out a Cobra Island figure. Now, he came with the same gun as the first version of the classified series, called the Broiler, and this one was a nicer color. I like the black way better, but the grip handle on the side on mine immediately snapped off. So I glued it back together, and it's on there, but it won't stay. I can't get it to stay with any kind of glue I use. And he was #11 in the series, so he's 1 and 11. And then the artwork I really liked, and he did come with a pair of sunglasses, some shades. And so we'll be taking a look at him in just a bit. Of course, #11 at the top too. Now, of course, eventually they finally did come out with a more traditional looking Roadblock, which I ended up acquiring as #28 in the series. Show the top of the box too. And then we'll get to the box art here. I really like this box art. It was probably some of the best box art they had for the classified series Roadblock. Get that looking good. Now, the gun he came with, though, was the one that he came with Breaker and the Ram. And the reason why I have these out is it's the same gun, and this comes out of the sidecar. The reason why I have this Breaker out is because I'm going to be reviewing him in just 2 weeks. At the end of the month here, it's going to be my 4th figure this month, and episode Joe Takes 31. So that brings us to the actual classified figures. And this broiler gun I like it. Now, a lot of people generally have Roadblock gripping the gun with this other handle at the back. And yeah, I've done that too. But I really think he looks better holding it like this. It looks like he has more control over it than at the back, and with it flailing around. It looks like he has a better grip on it from here. Now this was more like the 1986 version in a lot of ways, and so we could compare those up. He had the green vest and the massive big gun, and so on the back we have this. But anyway, it was very similar. The pants were darker brown, and I actually like this. The colors on this one a lot better. A lot of people hate on the gold. Doesn't bother me. I mean, it's not very tactical, but it looks nice as when you display the figure. So I don't have an issue with it. I wish he came with a sidearm. That was my only issue with this particular figure. He didn't come with a knife, and that slides right in right there. So pretty cool figure all in all. It's what got me to start collecting. It was ironically, it's the first one I got in the series, number one. And then I picked up a Scarlet, and I was posing them and messing around with him, and ended up putting Scarlet on his back like he was carrying her on his shoulders. And I was like, okay, I'm done. These declassified figures, they pose better, they're cooler, and I just started buying classified. And that started my classified collection. Now, this Tiger Force, I almost said Tiger Force, this Cobra Island Roadblock, which Target exclusive, Tiger Force, Python Patrol, Cobra Island. To me, it's all pretty much the same line. It's the Target exclusive. Now, this would have been a lot cooler in Tiger Force colors, I think, but I do love the subdued black and gray. Well, I think those are like dark tan pants. And he came with the same pack that honed in on the leg there, or very similar at least. These look like maybe flash grenades or even smoke grenades, stun grenades maybe. But I thought the shirt was pretty cool, and it was basically the same figure, just with a different head sculpt. Now, I would pose with hold his sunglasses, but I want to take these off for a bit so you get a better look at him. Now, for some reason, he went with the thicker, way full beard. I don't have a problem with that. I can't imagine anybody thinking that I would, but it's just messing. But no, this is. I thought this was a neat figure. A lot of people say this is their heavy duty. I don't see this as heavy duty. I mean, you could use him for heavy duty, but it's another Roadblock figure. I like it. And these sunglasses were pretty cool. Kind of reminded me of the sunglasses and shades that Blade wore in the movie when Wesley Snipes played Blade. I just watched that movie recently, so probably what I'm thinking about it. And it has these little slots here, and I always miss the one on the right side. It just doesn't want to go in there properly, but it's there, and if you get it in there, it looks pretty cool on him. It's with his comm gear right there. That's pretty cool. His communications. And he has stuff on his gauntlets there, which I thought was pretty neat. And basically, like I said, it's the same lower half, just repainted. I mean, it was a good figure. I don't see why there was a problem with reusing it. Now, a lot of people call this guy a peg warmer. Could be, but I liked it. It took me a long time to get that one because I believed the hype, and then I finally picked it up, and I'm like, it's a pretty cool figure. I like Roadblock, so maybe I'm biased. Now, the heavy artillery Roadblock, I just wanted to make sure I said that right, has been the best so far of the Roadblocks. Definitely matched up more towards the original. Not super hip on the helmet. I mean, it's just a generic G.I. Joe helmet, and I don't have a problem with it, but I prefer the bald look for Roadblock. Like I said, it came with the same Gatling gun that the Ram Cycle came with. It spins. This section of the gun actually comes off. I just have to remember which way it comes off. Oh, it comes towards the front. And it's basically this big old barrel, and all the ammo and the ordnance goes in there. And it just slides right back in there, snaps into place. and he actually poses with this really well. Now he came with a sidearm. Now, like on the original, so I was going to bring these up and compare them. On the original, he had the sidearm on the left, but here he's got it on the right. Now, the one thing he didn't come with was a combat knife. So they got one with a combat knife, one without either a sidearm or a combat knife, and then one with a sidearm. So, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You could probably outfit him with the other Roadblock's combat knife if you really wanted to. But, with this firepower, is he really going to end up using a combat knife? He might. I mean, when we get talking about the cartoon and the comic books, there were some instances where he used a knife. So, who knows? I do like the web gear on it. It definitely matches up to the original. The pant color I actually like better on the new one, on the classified, but they definitely had more colors to work with. So you got your vintage and your classified, and they actually match up pretty well together, I thought. So, I don't know why they just couldn't give him a combat knife on the leg, just like they did on the original, but they didn't. They chose not to. For whatever reason, we don't know why they make some of the decisions they make. And I know that there's companies out there on websites that sell accessories for the Genio classified. You can just have it back on him, and we'll take another look at him right here at the end of this when I finish up here. But I thought Roadblock is a very cool figure. Always been one of my favorite characters. Now, we'll take a look at some of the comics. I'm going to save my favorite one for last to have on display over there. And not necessarily my favorite cover, but my favorite storyline. Now, Roadblock isn't on the cover of his first appearance, but he first appeared in issue 22, which was the funeral for General Flagg. Him and Duke showed up at the end and shot down a Rattler with basically Roadblock shot it down with his Wild Deuce. And I have that with issue 21, the silent issue. Now, there are so many Roadblock covers in the original Marvel run of G.I. Joe that Larry Hama wrote. Larry Hama obviously loves this character. In the IDW run that he did with issues 156 to 300, there was an instance where he portrayed Roadblock as the most honorable Joe, which I thought was really neat. I love this cover. I probably showed it off before, but it's a really good Roadblock cover. Second appearance of Roadblock, very next issue that he was in, was on the cover. And then issue 24, again, back to back. He was right there, front and center, tackling Storm Shadow. He actually whooped Storm Shadow's ass in this issue. So, I'm sure that Storm Shadow could kill him, but in a straight up fight, probably not. Roadblock's just a powerhouse. Now, there are other covers that he's on, like I said, but I'm just going to show a bunch of the ones that I really like. I really enjoy this one. Plus, it has a 0 in it. I love those 40s and 50s, those numbers. Now, all of these, that was the only one that he was on right next to each other, back to back in issues. But I do like this cover right here. Very, very cool. I mean, that's Roadblock right there with his Bondus. I'm getting a lot of notifications right now, naturally. But that's the joys of live streaming. But it gives me an opportunity to show this stuff. Now, I might show some of the ones on the back. These are really good covers, but Roadblock stuff. Oh, that's Gung-Ho and Stalker. On the back of this one's the Unmaskings. I'm talking 56 and then 55 and then 56. That order. These are going the right direction, so when I put them back, they'll all go back real easy. Now, then they had the Cobra Civil War, which this was pretty much after. Roadblock kind of was the main character of that storyline right after the Cobra Civil War. It's really neat. This was like the last issue of it, and it was just like they just posed for the cover kind of thing. It was really neat, but The action was pretty much gone in that, and then of course you got all the issue before that. It was the actual end of the Cobra Civil War with the Baroness on front of his tank. Love this cover. All right, so that, and just to show you how many you started at issue 22. Here we are in issue 105, and Roadblock's right there front and center of the cover. Now, just like in the animated movie, where they had Roadblock get blinded for touching a no-no spot. But they blinded him in this little saga with him of the October Guard. That's Dana there and Dragunsky and Sergeant Nisha from the October Guard. They were kind of the original October Guard's replacements with Dana and Dragunsky. Those were the only two older members that had survived in the comics. Of course, then we have that's 105, and at 106 we got the Major Blood with Snake Eyes in his sights. Good saga, good storyline going on there. And then I don't have. There were some other ones in between, but they weren't really good Roadblock appearances on the cover. I like them, but to me they're just not as dynamic as some of these. Now I wanted to show this one because this is when he was with Star Brigade, and so they got a really good shot of him in his spacesuit there. I thought that was kind of neat. I'm not a big Star Brigade guy, but Roadblock. Just imagine a Roadblock as an astronaut with the big ass machine gun firing in outer space. I mean, I know it's not very practical because it's hard to fire a gun in outer space. Maybe lasers, but of course, this is the issue before it. Anything with Cobra Commander on, I really like too. So, let me see here. Right near the end of the series, which ended on 155. Well, here's 153. That was they did these like backstories for like Scarlet. Then they did one with Roadblock, kind of on vacation. It's kind of neat. And I think this is one of the few that wasn't written by Larry Hollow, but it was still a fun issue. And I don't know who the girl is, but it wasn't Scarlet or any of the other female Joes. But that's definitely Roadblock there. This was basically a Roadblock solo issue. Really fun read. Now, on the very last issue, Roadblock was there with and I've got two copies of the last issue, and he's just right there where they're folding up the flag and closing the pit, which is kind of how they ended the series. But then they just started it back up again. Larry Hama has a way of just starting the action back up again. Now, the reason why this one's over here is because, like I said, this is my favorite story with Roadblock in the comics. What had happened was after the Cobra Civil War, the generals who had ordered them to go decided they were going to blame Hawk and his immediate superior for the incident because they were basically getting in trouble, and so basically Hawk and for the life of me, I can't remember the other general's name because it wasn't General Austin or the other one. It wasn't Hollingsworth or Austin, so it was an African American general, and it was a really cool general. And him and Hawk were taken into captivity, and Roadblock happened to be with them. And basically, they kind of asked Roadblock to go reassemble the Joes and rescue them, but they couldn't actually order him to do it. So he volunteered and went and reassembled the Joe team and saved Hawk. It was awesome. Very, very cool storyline. Of course, the one before that, right before that is the one I showed off a little while ago with Lady Jane and Zorana fighting it out. So Zorana was last week's Joe takes, so I'd show that a bit. Now, takes us to the cartoon, the Sunbow animated series, and the Deke series. Roadblock in this particular figure was in the Deke series for a few episodes. I don't really remember. He was just kind of there. Now, the Sunbow series is way different. Roadblock started out in Revenge of Cobra. He was one of the prominent characters throughout the entire 5-part miniseries. Some of my favorite moments in that movie are with Roadblock. I love the way he rhymed when he spoke. Roadblock was just a really dynamic character. Now, in Revenge of Cobra, Roadblock, when they first got trapped in this canyon, when they got the weather dominator, they knocked their jets out of the sky. Him, Flint, and Mutt were trapped in this canyon, and they built. They put together from the Sky Striker parts a little makeshift helicopter and flew it out of the canyon. But Roadblock was too heavy for it, and so he just said, don't worry about me. I'll fight my way out." And he jumped down and he pulled out his combat knife and started fighting these creeper vines that were trying to strangle him. And he basically fought them off all night by himself. I mean, Roadblock was the man, dude, and he ended up going and saving. Ended up going to Cobra Temple and getting captured, but he ended up in the long run saving Duke and Snake Eyes and a gal named Honolulu West, who Cobra had taken over her shipping company and all her trucks and all her supplies and goods, and they were basically taking him to the Cobra Temple in the middle of the desert, and he made friends with Honolulu West. Now, in my head canon, him and Honolulu West actually started a catering company together. She supplied all the stuff, and then he was the chef. While they were on hiatus, the Joe team. Pyramid of Darkness, he was in a bit. In the first season of the Sunbow series, however, Roadblock, man, he was in a very lot amount of episodes. That's not the right wording for that. He was in a lot of episodes. Let's just put it that way. Now, the one that really stands out from season one, I mean, like I said, he was in a lot of them, and he had really good parts. And I love his interaction with Tomax and Zaymon in a lot of them. I talked about Money to Burn, and tonight I watched. Which one did I watch today? It was Cobra Soundwaves, and him, Gung Ho, and Ace got shot down. Another incident where they got shot down, but Roadblock's not a pilot. So, but Ace got shot down too. But it was with this sonic device that shook their planes apart. Cobra actually had a decent plan. I mean, it went awry, but that's the way it normally happens in the cartoon. Roadblock was really cool in that, but his standout episode of the first season was Rocket's Red Glare, where he went and his aunt and uncle had a restaurant, and Cobra was trying to buy the restaurant back because all the rockets on the franchises of this particular Red Rocket Drive-In were real rockets that Cobra was going to use to destroy a bunch of cities, and so that was a neat episode. And Roadblock. No one makes my Aunt Sarah cry, very, very loyal soldier, very all-around cool guy. Cartoon, comic book, Roadblock was the guy, man. He was your go-to. He was definitely the man who you wanted behind you with one of those big guns that covered your back, covered your six, as it were. Now in season 2, I also watched tonight Raise the Flag, which was kind of a continuation of Computer Complications when the flag got sank. And Cobra tried to raise it back up because there was an antimatter pod on the flag that Cobra had taken originally. It was kind of weird. It was the Joes were trying to stop them from taking it, and Roadblock, Leatherneck, and Wetsuit got trapped down below on the sunken flag with Zartan, Xandar, and Zarana, and they got captured, all 6 of them, by a crazy ex-Cobra Viper in a Cobra Trooper suit, but he called himself a Cobra Viper, and a bunch of bats that he had reprogrammed to help him survive underwater all that time in the sunken pit. He actually set up the antimatter pod, was generating air by growing algae. It was kind of a neat setup. Very interesting episode. So if you haven't seen it, Raise the Flag. It's a great second season episode. Second season, not as I don't really love it as much as I do the first one. I still like it, but there are some standout episodes in season 2 that I really, really love, and Raise the Flag is one of them. So as far as the cartoon is concerned, that's Roadblock. So that takes us to my headcanon. Where do I see Roadblock? Well, uh, I don't see him as a platoon sergeant per se, but um, he's definitely a team member. He can take charge. Uh, Rank wise, he started out as a E4, which is a corporal or a specialist, and he never got promoted. Well, I think he did for the Tiger Force. I think that was an E5, and I have those file cards on the video here that I'm going to play in just a minute. But and then he got promoted to E6 for this figure. I'm pretty sure it was E6 for this figure. And then later on, they showed him as an E7. Of course, in the movie, they made him a command sergeant major. Depends on where you want to put him. I'm of the opinion that he's been a G.I. Joe long enough that he's at least a master sergeant. He can take charge of a unit if he wants to, but he generally doesn't. He's more of a team player and not necessarily a leader. I mean, I know they made him a leader because The Rock played him in G.I. Joe Retaliation. But I don't really see him in that role. I see him as he was in the comics or in the cartoon. He's your dependable team member. Now, yes, he can take charge. Yes, he has taken charge, like he did in this, where the Cobra Civil War, he took charge of all the Joes that were not rounded up and arrested and busted a hawk, and I think they called him Hollingsworth. Maybe. I'd have to look that up, but I probably could, but you know what? Let's do that. It's not like we're doing anything special. Besides, next week is Veterans Day, and so I kind of wanted to do a lot of cool stuff for all my G.I. Joe videos this month, all my Joe takes. So I'll be talking about that here in just a bit before I play the video on what's coming up for the rest of the month. But let me see what we got here. Looking through here. We got General Malthus was the bad guy, working with I think a Senator Hegel, H-E-G-E-L or Hegel. There you have it. Had a nice way of using various names, coming up with some pretty cool names. As an author myself, I like to come up with some neat names. And they ended up getting Dr. Adele Burkhardt from the very first issue to help them rescue Hawk, and I'm pretty sure it was Hollingsworth. But Hollingsworth in the comics, I've seen him as both African American and American mutt, white guy. But they're just a couple of tough old soldiers, man. Not really cooperating. And there is a scene in here I know where Dr. Burkhardt comes out and says who she names the generals by name, and says she's there to see about their well-being because she's an activist and all that. And they tried to say, oh, they've obviously taken Dr. Burkhardt captive and all this crap. So, trying to cover it up. Of course, they had Storm Shadow Billy and the Jinx busted in to help rescue Hawk. And I would have to really read through this to see where it is. But like I said, there is a scene where she comes in and she announces her presence. She says, I demand to see Hawk and Hollingsworth. So I was right. It was General Hollingsworth. So I don't know. It's just comic writing. Sometimes they miscolored characters. No pun intended. I actually liked him as an African American, so I prefer it that way myself. But who knows whether there was a mistake or not. Now, I have him in one of my fire teams. I'm pretty sure he's in Fire Team Alpha. And I have all my fire teams up to Fire Team Echo, which I'm doing in the military action game, which will be coming up session 2. It's going to be on the 27th, I'm pretty sure. That's a Monday night at 5 o'clock. And yeah, that's the 27th on my schedule there. Now we'll take another look at Roadblock before I play the video and sign off. And we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up this month. Next week, the video is probably already posted. Joe Takes 29 for Sergeant Slaughter. We shall be having him do a very special Veterans Day episode of Joe Takes 29. A lot of stuff I want to do in that episode. I want to give some shout outs, and if you enjoy G.I. Joe, check out all my Joe Takes. I'm wrapping this one up here, but like I said, next week we got Sergeant Slaughter, the Joe Takes 29, and then the next week we've got Snake Eyes, so that should be pretty cool. And again, at the end of the month we got Breaker. So I've got a pretty big lineup this month, and I'm going to enjoy talking about Sarge next week and Snake Eyes the week after, and Breaker the following week. So hope you tune in and you are enjoying some G.I. Joe. Let me turn this music off here. It was nice to have that in the background tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do that all the time. I'm going to have to watch this back and see how it plays out. But here's my on Joe Takes 27, which is on Joe Takes 28, which is this particular episode. And it's got all the artwork and file cards. So you take a look at those. And after this post, you can watch it, replay it, pause it, or you just go and watch the Joe Takes 28 video, do it. But here you go. With all that being said, Logan out.